Hello my dear students, once again welcome back to your online class. So in today's video we'll be discussing on the third chapter of your chemistry textbook, that is water. We already know that water is very essential for human beings and as well as for animals. And also we know that the 1/3 of the earth's surface is already covered with water, but only a fraction of it is fit for drinking, and that is said to be the potable water. So in this chapter we'll be discussing in details about the following properties of the water. Okay, so we'll be discussing on the occurrence of water, its physical properties, the universal solvent, like why a water is a universal solvent. Then we'll discuss about what is a solution, the different kinds of solution. We'll also be discussing on the solubility curve, the water of crystallization, efflorescence, deliquescence, and the hard water and the soft water. So now coming to the first topic, the occurrence of water. The water, it occurs in the free state and as well as in a combined state. So in a free state you can see water largely in a sea, ocean, okay, rivers, and as a rainfall as well. Okay, so that is the free state of water. That means the water exists as a water only. And the other occurrence of the water is in the combined form. The combined form means the water is mixed with the other compounds and present in them. Like if you also see any kind of fruits, okay, so when you squeeze them, what happens? The liquid squeezes out of them, okay, so which contains the water. So the water, it largely occurs in a combined state as well. Like the water, it occurs even in the crystals also. So whenever the crystals are formed, always some amount of water is utilized. Okay, so the water occurs in a combined state in all those compounds. Now coming to the physical properties of water, you already know most of the physical properties. Like a pure water, in its pure state, the water is transparent, okay, it is colorless, it is odorless, and it's even tasteless also. We also know that the water, it boils at 100 degrees centigrade and it freezes at 0 degrees centigrade. We also have learned about the anomalous expansion of water in class 8. So according to that, the water has the highest density at 4 degrees centigrade, which is in SI unit is around 1000 kg per meter cube, and in SI it is simply the 1 gram per centimeter cube. Okay, so in book there are many more physical properties given, so go through the books in detail, and if you have any problem you can always ask me. Now coming to the third topic, the water is called as a universal solvent. It is because we know that the water, it has a high dielectric constant, so because of which it can dissolve most of the organic and inorganic compounds in them. So that's why the water is known as a universal solvent. Now coming to this fourth topic, that is the solution. So now what is a solution? Solution simply, for example, in a beaker, if you take a water, and in that water if you put a salt, NaCl, the sodium chloride, and then if you stir it, so the mixture of the sodium chloride and water together is known as a solution. So whatever, like we have the two phases here, one that is being dissolved and the second one we have that dissolves the first thing. So here the water is said to be the solvent, okay, and then the salt is said to be the solute. So together the solvent plus solute is said to be the solution. Okay, so now we also have a different kinds of solution, okay, like which you have already learned in class 8 about the true solution and its characteristics. So here we will be discussing on the saturated solution. So we have the first kind, the saturated, the second we have the unsaturated, and then we have the third one is the supersaturated. So now what is the saturated, unsaturated and supersaturated? So the saturated solutions are the one which no longer can dissolve the solvent in them. Like in this case, if you go on adding a sodium chloride, that means salt, and go on stirring it, finally a stage will reach, okay, where the water will no longer be able to dissolve the salt. The salt you put in that like in a water, it will no longer get dissolved. Then this is said to be the saturated solution. So the saturated are the one which no longer can dissolve solute in them. Then unsaturated are the one which can further dissolve the solute in them. Like initially when you add a 1 spoon of salt over here and then stir it, and then when you add a second spoon of salt, it can dissolve that salt as well. So then it is said unsaturated. Unsaturated means it can dissolve more amount of solute in them. And supersaturated are the one, like once you make the solution a saturated one, so it is usually seen that on heating this solution, it is capable of dissolving some more amount of solute in them. So and then on cooling that, okay, so whatever amount of salt was dissolved, it still remains dissolved, then it is said to be the supersaturated solution. So the supersaturated solution are obtained by heating a saturated solution and then adding some more solute in it, and on cooling that solution is said to be the supersaturated solutions. So now there are some of the terms like the water of crystallization. Okay, so the water of crystallization is nothing but it's the amount of water present in a crystal. Like whenever a crystal is formed, it always requires a small amount of water. So that amount of water is said to be the water of crystallization. For example, when the crystals of copper sulfate is formed, like CuSO4, okay, so there, to form a 1 molecule of copper sulfate crystal, the 5 molecules of water is required. So which we write a dot 5H2O. So this 5H2O is said to be the water of crystallization. So simply it is the amount of water present in the crystal. Now coming to the efflorescent substances, so like this one, okay, so if this was a efflorescent substance, when it is exposed to the dry air, okay, it naturally loses its water of crystallization and forms a powdery mass. So that is said to be the efflorescent substance. So clear? So efflorescence means the capability, not substance means they are those substances which loses its water of crystallization when exposed to the dry air. And the delisequent substances, it's just the reverse of the efflorescence. So delisequent substances are the one which can absorb the moisture from the atmosphere, okay, which can absorb the water from the atmosphere. So those substances are said to be the delisequent substance. Now finally we have a last topic, the hard water and the soft water, which you have been learning from your junior classes. So hard water is simply the one which does not form a lather with the soap, and the soft water is the one which forms the lather with the soap. So there are various ways to convert the hard water into the soft water, and there are also the advantages and disadvantages of hard water and soft water both. So which is given in your book in details. So please you go through the books from the first topic to the last, and then if you find any problem in understanding any of the topic, so you can always ask me in my WhatsApp number.